Hi, I'm Barbara Seelig Brown. Welcome to Stress Free Cooking. Today's show will be an alfresco chicken dinner party. I made this menu a few weeks ago for some friends. It was a big hit, so I thought I would do it for you. But before we get started, I want you to put on your bunny slippers, pour a glass of wine, and cook with me. So let's have just a little bit of a nice dry Italian white wine to get started. Cheers. Great. All right, so the first thing we're going to make is the beginnings of a sweet potato hummus. So I'm going to take a sweet potato and peel it, and we're going to boil this potato until it's fork tender. And then what we're going to do is put it in a food processor with some chickpeas, some lemon, salt, and pepper. And that's going to be one of our sauces for our grilled chicken. So let's get this potato in the pot. And I like this sauce because it has a lot of flavor. The sweet potato makes it a little bit different. Sweet potatoes are so good for us. They have so many more vitamins, minerals, and nutrients than plain white potatoes. And it also gives us a really pretty color for this sauce. So this sauce is really healthy because we have our chickpeas in here. Very little fat. Okay. And I have my water boiling. So you can start this in a cold pan with cold water, but in the interest of, I hate sweet potatoes because they're so hard. Okay. I also want to cut this up into small enough pieces that it's going to cook quickly. Okay, and try and get all the pieces a uniform size. So that's the first part of our sweet potato hummus. And we really can stop right there and go on to the chicken. So I'm going to grab a couple of chicken breasts that I've put into Ziploc bags. I've put into plastic bags. And I'm going to pound these chicken breasts. So let me grab my pounder. So simple grilled chicken. All we need to do is take a boneless, skinless chicken breast, put it into a Ziploc bag or in between two sheets of parchment paper or in between two flexible cutting boards, but you want to have it enclosed in something so that when you pound the chicken, it doesn't splash all over the kitchen. Also, we want to pound it on the skin side. So if you take a look at your chicken breast, you have a shiny side, you can tell where the skin was, and the other side is more porous looking. So we pound on the skin side so that when we pound it, we don't get as many holes in it. Take a flat meat pounder or a saute pan, anything heavy, but you don't want any spikes because we don't want to put any holes in the chicken. So we're going to start pounding in the center and press our way towards the edges so it's nice and even. Now these chicken breasts were pretty large. I would say these were about 10, 11 ounces each. So one of these could actually serve 2 people. So let's take them out of the plastic bag and we're going to put them on a plate and season them with salt and pepper. So very simple because we want to show off the sauces that we're going to make today. Okay, so now we have very little mess from pounding the chicken. And I'm just going to wash my hands. Okay, and then just season it with a little salt and pepper. The grill pan is preheated, so sprinkle some salt over each chicken breast. And then a fresh grinding of black pepper. And I use mixed peppercorns in my pepper mill because I like having the variety of flavors, the white, the pink, and the black. And you can adjust the grind on your pepper mill by turning the knob. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. Okay, and let's turn these over and season the other side. And I'll use my clean hand for my salt. And a pinch of salt is about 1/8 of a teaspoon, so we really haven't used much salt at all. So the chicken breast is seasoned. I'm just going to dab a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on it. Okay. Just a drizzle, and then I'll turn it over and do the other side. And what remains on my hand is really enough. It'll just keep it from sticking to the grill pan. So into the preheated grill pan we go, skin side down. Okay. We're gonna let that cook a little bit. I'm gonna clean up, I'm gonna come back and we'll go to our next sauce. Our chicken sounds like it's cooked, and you can cook by sound. It just sounds like it's been sizzling and grilling for the right amount of time. So let's take a peek. Perfect. We have nice grill marks. I'm gonna turn it over. And if you were cooking this outside, you would do the same thing. Just cook it until you get those nice golden brown grill marks. So let's make another sauce for our chicken. This is a black bean and mango salsa. It's a great salsa or even a dip for chips, and it's really easy. And it's best made early in the day so the flavors have a chance to blend. So I have some black beans. This is 1 can or about 2 cups of black beans that I've drained and rinsed really well. When you rinse the black beans, you also get rid of a lot of the gas. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a mango, and when you purchase your mango, you want it soft to the touch, so it will give a little bit. Mangoes tend to bruise easily, so if you buy a mango that's not ripe and you bring it home and you let it ripen on the kitchen counter, sometimes you get a lot of black spots from where it's been squeezed by other customers. Stand the mango up. You can see it has kind of a flat look to one side. And we're going to cut about 1/3 of the way into the mango. It has a flat seed, which you'll run into. And if you do run into it, just back your knife off just a little bit. Okay. So we have 2 pieces of mango. I'm going to take a large paring knife and score it a little bit. Try to stop at the skin if you can. Okay. And the more lines or scores you put in here, the smaller the bites of mango will be. So keep scoring. We'll do both sides. Okay. And once that's done, we're going to push the mango inside out, like so. And we're just going to cut these little cubes off of the skin into the bowl with the black beans. And this mango is actually a perfect ripeness. It's a little bit juicy, but not too soft. If you put mangoes in the refrigerator, they tend to get a little bit fibrous. So the same thing with the other side. Mango is also a member of the poison ivy family. Some people have a little bit of a reaction when they eat mango, and that's why. So the other part of it, which is the pit, we just trim it the best that we can or save it for the chef. And I think today this is going to be for the chef. So the other ingredient that I'm going to add to this is going to be some red onion. When I'm cutting anything round, I like to make it flat to begin with. So, and I really only need about 1/2 of this onion today. So into this bowl with the peels. We're going to cut the stem end off, but keep the root end intact because that will make your cutting a little bit easier. This onion is nice and fresh. This was from my farmer's market. I really love it when our farmers markets are in season and we can shop almost every day, just like when we would be in Italy. So we're going to make some cuts on our onion vertically and then horizontally. And again, the root onion end keeps this onion from falling apart on me. And then I just take my chef's knife and I make nice slices across. And that will determine the size of the dice of my onion. Okay, that looks good. And if my dice was too big, I could take my knife and I could just run right over the pieces that looked a little large. So that looks great. So this goes into the bowl with the black beans and mango. And actually, I think half an onion was a little more than I needed, so let's put that aside and save that for something else. Now I have some cilantro here. If you don't like cilantro, you can use fresh Italian parsley, washed and dried so that it chops more finely. Also, if you put your herbs away nice and dry, they will last a lot longer. It's the water that ruins herbs and berries and things that are very fragile. Okay, so this goes into the bowl with the black bean and mango. And we want to add a little bit of freshly ground pepper, a couple pinches of salt, which is about a quarter teaspoon. And then the final ingredient that I'm going to add is some fresh lime juice. So I have a lime that's room temperature. I'm going to roll it on my cutting board or my kitchen counter. Take that paring knife that I had before, cut it in half, and I want to grab a fork so that I can juice my lime. So if you don't have a lime juicer or a citrus juicer, take a fork, stick it into the lime, and just squeeze it around the fork over a strainer so that it catches any seeds. This works great with lemons as well. That's done. Same thing with the other side. This was a nice big lime, so I think one will be enough. And this one was really nice and juicy because we let it come to room temperature. So we'll take the strainer out and pour the lime juice into the bowl with the mango, black bean, onion, and cilantro, and stir it around. And that's it. Black bean and mango salsa, which will be a great complement to our grilled chicken. This is also wonderful with a pork tenderloin that you've grilled. So we'll set this aside, we'll let those flavors blend. We're going to come back and we're going to finish up our sweet potato hummus. Now that our sweet potatoes are cooked, we can finish up our sweet potato hummus. So we need a food processor fitted with the steel blade. The plastic blade that comes with your food processor is for dough making because it stays cool. So the steel blade, of course, is a little sharper, so we'll use the steel blade. And what we're going to do is start with our chickpeas. So this is about 1.5 cups of chickpeas. I drained them, I rinsed them, and the more you rinse them, the more you get rid of the preservatives and some of the gassiness that comes from chickpeas. So now that I have the chickpeas in here, let's pulse those a little bit and just mince those up. Chickpeas look good. So now that they're minced, I'm going to add my sweet potatoes. Okay. And then we will pulse this again to get those sweet potatoes nice and smooth. And after I pulse it for a second or two, I'll scrape down the side of the bowl. So scrape down the side of the bowl. Okay. And this is quite thick. So now I'm going to pulse it one more time. And then what I'm going to do is add some lemon juice and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. So we'll take that room temperature lemon and roll it on the cutting board, cut it in half, and with the strainer again and the fork, squeeze the lemon. Okay, and for this I actually might need both of these lemons. So we'll squeeze the second lemon. And again, when they're room temperature, you get so much more juice. And I actually like to keep lemons on my kitchen counter because they look pretty and they smell pretty. So this juice goes into the food processor. Just a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. Just a little bit. We can always add more, but we can't take it away. So now we'll pulse it and see what the consistency looks like. So let's take a peek. We're getting there, but I think we're gonna need just a drizzle more extra virgin olive oil and a pinch of salt and pepper and some cumin. So since I'm using both salt and cumin, I've already pre-measured those and put those in a little glass bowl. Let's do a few grindings of fresh black pepper. And the extra virgin olive oil. And this should do it. Okay, let's check. Yep, perfect. So we're just gonna pulse this a little more till I'm confident that it's nice and smooth, and then our second sauce will be all done. And that looks just fine. Okay, so sauce number 2 is finished. We're gonna clean the food processor, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna make a garlic scape pesto. The last sauce that I'm going to make is a garlic scape pesto. Pesto simply means paste. Most people think that pesto means basil paste, but it really doesn't. All it means is paste. So you can make pesto out of anything that you want. I love making pesto out of garlic scapes, sun-dried tomatoes, olives, and especially basil. But a garlic scape is the top of the garlic in the spring. When garlic grows, it grows underground and it develops this long curly shoot on top. And this is actually, and you can see this one has more of a curl, this would be the long curly shoot that comes out of the garlic in the spring. They're very garlic flavored, so it makes a great garlicky flavored sauce. So these have been washed and trimmed a little bit just in case there was any dry ends on them. I'm gonna take my chef's knife and cut them up just a little bit more. They don't have to be really small because the food processor will do its job. So we have the steel blade in the food processor, and our garlic scape pesto is just garlic scapes and olive oil and a little bit of salt. So into the food processor. Garlic scapes are available at your local farmer's market. Mine sells them at about $9.99 a pound, but a pound of garlic scapes is a lot. This was probably just a couple of ounces. So let's get these, let's start mincing these. And once I start that, I'll take a look. Now, the food processor will not work unless it's assembled properly, so it's okay to check and see how things look. And I want them minced just a little bit more, and then I can start adding my extra virgin olive oil. Okay, looks good, and it smells great. Just enough extra virgin olive oil until I get a nice paste. Let's take a peek. We're just about there. Let's scrape it down. Excellent. All right, so this looks good. I'm just going to add a couple pinches of salt. That looks perfect. So now we're going to add it to the bowl with the other sauces, and we'll plate the chicken. So we have our sweet potato and chickpea, and we have our black bean and mango, and we have the garlic scape. One other trick with your food processor is you'll put your finger in the bottom. There's a hole underneath. Put your finger in the bottom of the food processor so that the blade doesn't fall into your serving bowl. And that's a beautiful color. And it smells as beautiful as this green is to look at. Since we eat with our eyes, I love to think about cooking with different colors. Sometimes you can plan a whole menu just based on color. Go to your farmer's market or your store, buy lots of colorful ingredients, come home and create anything you want. So we're gonna set this aside. We'll take a peek at the chicken. Chicken looks perfect. golden brown on both sides. It really only takes about 7 or 8 minutes to cook your chicken breast if you've pounded it. So I like to serve this by slicing it. So take a nice sharp chef's knife and we'll slice nice even slices. Okay, and we'll do the other one. Let's turn it around this way. We're cutting against the grain of the chicken so that we get nice even slices. Also, you want to let your chicken sit and rest a few minutes before you slice it so that the juices from the chicken remain in the chicken and not on the cutting board. So just a couple of minutes of resting time will really do a good job as far as making your chicken retain all those juices and all the great flavors. So we have our grilled chicken, garlic scape pesto, black bean mango, red onion and cilantro salsa, and our sweet potato and chickpea puree or hummus, but it's not hummus because we don't have tahini in here. Tahini actually has a lot of fat in it. I like to add other flavors that will replace the fat from the tahini. So let's plate this, and then of course, a good cook always tastes everything. So we have a pretty dinner plate, and actually the colors on this plate accent the flavors of the foods that we've made. So if I were serving this to a crowd, I would have a large platter of chicken, and then I would have my sauces placed all around it. So let's take a couple of slices of chicken, put that in the center. And maybe one more nice hearty serving. And then what we'll do is we'll take some of the sweet potato and we'll place that here. And some of the black bean and mango. And right here. And again, this salsa is also wonderful with chips for dipping. And it's really healthy and you have a lot of fiber in here. And then we have our garlic scape pesto, very, very garlicky. I think we'll put that right here. Okay. So we're gonna give this a taste. Make sure that we've seasoned everything properly. And let me grab this little paring knife. The cumin is such a wonderful accent to the sweet potato. And the black bean and mango with the lime and the cilantro is also going to be very refreshing. And our garlic scape pesto. And you want to make sure that if you have a date, your date is also eating this garlic scape pesto. So there you have it. Nice, easy al fresco dinner party. I'm Barbara Seelig Brown. Thank you so much for joining me on Stress Free Cooking. I'll see you again soon.